Hi everyone, I'm Lynnea Olivarez, Chair of ASGCT's Communications Committee, and you're listening to Soundbites of the annual meeting, our mini podcast series recorded live here at ASGCT 2025 in New Orleans. Joining me now is Dr. Mimi Lee, Physician Scientist and Program Manager at ARPA-H, where she leads bold new efforts to reimagine how we tackle high-impact health challenges through innovation and strategic collaboration. Dr. Lee, welcome.
Thank you.
You spoke at the conference about ARPA-H's approach to rethinking how we fund and structure CGT development. What makes ARPA-H's approach different from other health funding agencies?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I've been coming to ASGCT for the last 10 years, and it's really exciting to see and feel the enthusiasm and optimism amongst the scientists, even given what's going on in the macro environment. ARPA-H is a 3.5-year-old agency. It's, I think, still the youngest federal agency currently. And the mission is, it's modeled after DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which started approximately 70 years ago when the U.S. saw USSR launch Sputnik into space. And the American government realized, oh boy, we really want to be a leader on the global stage in innovation. So DARPA has funded moonshot, space shot projects such as GPS technology, stealth technology, internet, Siri, and they decided we really need to do something on this scale that's really going to impact and transform the way humanity lives for our citizens' health. So ARPA-H was conceived, strategized, announced in April of 22. I think a lot of planning during Trump 1.0 and announced in the early Biden administration, and going pretty strong still. We're very, very excited. We've already launched a number of programs, things like what if joints could heal themselves? Involves in vivo 3D printing and stem cells to avoid all the joint replacements that many, many people experience later on in their lives, and other moonshot projects such as what if the body could create its own in vivo cell therapies. So here at ASGCT, I think I've been seeing a rapid, incredible evolution of scientific innovations. And ARPA wants to take all of the tools that have been created here and strategize, great, in 10 years, then what does the future state look like? What will we as citizens, as Americans, as leaders of global health innovation, how will we live? How will medicine look at disease and treat them?
Such a bold vision. That's so cool to hear all of that here is happening at the forefront at the annual meeting. So ARPA-H projects often bring together players from across the ecosystem, as you were just telling us. What role do those private companies, academia, and patient communities play in those funded programs, projects, and initiatives?
Yeah, it's a great question. One of the reasons I came to ARPA-H after being in academia and being in industry was I realized there were much bigger problems that kind of challenges that need to be removed, obstacles, so that all of academia and industry can move forward ahead much more efficiently and quickly. And that's why I decided to join the government. It was an interesting time to join now last summer, but I think I'm very optimistic that it's actually a great time to be here. We are able to break down the silos between academia, industry, biotech, patient advocacy organizations, all of the organizations, and work with the single priority of truly improving health outcomes for all. We don't have to, we have the luxury of not having to think about short-term, immediate financial returns on our investment. We're thinking about investing in the future of the health of the American people and as leaders of innovation around the world, longer term. So that means we're the pre-seed round, looking for really transformative ideas and breakthrough innovation that we can seed and we can visualize. You have to have kind of visionaries looking at this. We can strategically plan with the best of academia, industry, biotech, patient advocacy organizations to build that future vision. So it starts with a vision, something that does not exist today, and we gather the best of all worlds to try to make that happen.
And what's a type of health challenge that's perfect for a so-called ARPA-H style solution?
So things that are going to be, I like to say, that are going to be viable, so technically sound with rigorous science behind it. Things that are going to be sustainable, so not just a flash in the pan, but something that we know that this is going to be the way that we live. Think about the internet. That was really, the fundamentals were invented at DARPA. The internet changed the way we live. I think I mentioned back in the late 90s, my sister, who was in the business world, while I was doing neurosurgery residency, said, "You need to get on the internet." And I said, "No, I don't." And she said, "Yes, you do." And I said, "No, I don't. I'm a doctor." And she bought me a computer with an internet on it, and she forced me to get an email address. And now look at where we are. We're really looking for things in the future. I think in this space we're looking for how do we harness the rapidly evolving landscape of technologies that are being developed and make that into something that's ubiquitous, that every person can access where they're living at an affordable price that's going to improve the quality of our lives and the quantity of our lives.
And during your talk here at ASGCT, you emphasized a future where we're headed toward N-of-1 precision medicine. And I think we saw that with all the fantastic news that came out of the conference this week. How cell and gene therapy will play a central role, not just in treatment, but in prevention. So could you maybe talk a little bit more about that vision and that view you bring?
Yeah, it's a great question. So very exciting news, as you mentioned, by science, again, a model of what it takes when you have scientists, physicians, patients themselves, but the brave, bold patients and the patient advocates all come together from multiple institutions to save a life. That period, full stop. And the FDA, the boldness and courageousness of them to support that. I see a vision, and I'm trying to enable this at ARPA, where it's not just for one baby at a time at the most elite, highest potential academic universities, but where everyone can have this happen. It takes a lot to get to that future where we're not just looking at ultra rare diseases where there's only one patient with this. It's all of us. We're not looking at genetic disease. We're looking at diseases, chronic diseases that can now be evaluated, assessed, and treated at the genetic level. Before, in the late 1800s, 1700s, medicine just kind of did a whole body sort of spidey sense of what was going on. In the last 125 years, medicine has gotten more scientific. And now we're actually being able to get more precise. We can do things not at the system, organ, or cell level, or molecular level. Now we have the tools to do things at the genetic level. And it behooves us to we're going to learn so much more about physiology, biology, pathophysiology, and how to address this for all individuals at the genetic level. And that, to me, is very, very exciting. We're each unique, although many of us may have the same diagnosis. I know as a physician, my one patient with the same diagnosis might look very different from another patient with the same diagnosis. And with these tools, we will be able to hone in on what those differences are and be able to treat them individually.
Okay. Dr. Lee, thank you so much for sharing your time and perspective and for the work you and your team at ARPA-H are doing to bring transformative solutions to patients faster, more equitably, and at scale. For everyone listening, stay tuned for more Soundbites of the annual meeting from ASGCT 2025.